the individual uses or has the voluntarily motivation or something externally influencing the behavior, then that is called intrinsic. If external something is going to affect the behavior, to influence the behavior, that is called extrinsic motivation. X means external, not external. It means inner things, voluntary behavior. But we have to consider both. We should more consider the intrinsic. There should be volunteers in a society. No? That is excellent. Even others expect that. But both are there, both should be there for an individual. If they are always volunteers, then nothing, I think they are going down no, in the society. Degrade. And it is a good example. In universities also say there are external things, them to achieve, then they will present at 100%. It is called extrinsic motivation. That is required, but you have to balance both external in both. Then only the productive learning happens. No? The very learning happens, then only that. Even the society will benefit from that. Much benefit. Our cricket team also looks like that. No? They don't play to win a game continuously. That means they are depending on the extrinsic motivation. If any essential games only, they try to make an effort. There are disadvantages of that. No? The ranking can go down, then others can have the good psychological status there in our team. And we have to, I mean, Srilankan cricketers also more think of intrinsic motivation. Otherwise, they can't win in the games, no, at the international level. Local levels, they can do, but compete with the international other teams like New Zealand, even South African, is powerful, no? It is very powerful. They have had planned properly beforehand. Is to deal with the management concepts in all way, everywhere. But then that day we could not do the quiz, no? But the office agreed with our normal plan. That mail has wanted to inform us in advance about the plan. Hello, can you hear? Yeah, no? You are in the virtual class, no? In usual way. Even at the childhood, we have developed this. If a child likes reading books or poems and all voluntarily, the child has the intrinsic motivation. If parents are influencing to do that, giving a candy or something chocolate. If you read this, I'll give a chocolate. Then the child is under extrinsic motivation. From the childhood, actually, we have to learn this. No? It's very difficult to learn in our later stages. All these involve psychology. Then what's the lesson? Big number we completed? 9 or 8? 9. Others are not here. We can go up to 13. I have allocated only 13 lessons. So there are 15. Last one can be taken for if any oral presentation. Then 14th one can be considered to catch up, no? The miss area. But this is also coming under leading up. Because it's the number one skill step required to be a good leader, effective leader, appropriate communication or effective communication. Then this also comes under leading up. Third one, no? First one was leadership. Then on the last day we did about motivation. It also came in leading. This is also coming under leading communication. Right. Then sociology, social science or behavioral science like sociology. That knowledge should be basically used here to study a topic like not sociology actually both English, sociology, both. In a combined way, that is considered as social psychology. Social psychology. Right. Social psychology is the core behavioral science. No? Has to know about the communication process in management and OB. Then one way part it is based on psychology. On the other hand, when the message of information goes to the receiver, then it involves sociology also. Then we have to combine both. That the discipline is that combining both is called social psychology. Right. Then you can call this as organizational communication. Organizational communication. Everything is discussed for an organization in our subjects. Or managerial communication, another one. Managerial communication, better to say as employees are also communicating, no? They also should be communication, not only managers. Then better use the term as organizational communication. And then these are the areas we are going to cover. It's a small lesson. We can save more time today to have other activities. But communication should be done good in a proper way. Communication. Yeah. First, we have defined that concept. I'll give another definition. Then, using a model, we will identify the communication process. After that, we can identify different types of communication used in organizations. Broadly, we can classify it as formal and informal. Right. Then after that, we will identify some barriers again to effective communication. Meantime, we will identify how to overcome them. Overcoming means we have to identify some major communication strategies used by managers or using organizations. Find the summary of the learning points can be considered the last as managerial implications points to managerial managers. That is said as managerial implications. Then considering this picture, you can identify almost everything discussed in the as the learning outcomes using that picture. Actually, this was taken from the Robin's OB book. In OB also, this topic is discussed in organizational behavior. That comes in your third semester. Still no such student, no? You first one is the semester 2, no? You can know. Earlier we had the test only it happened. Well, others were regulated. Successful. Right. Then even communication definition can be considered here. This is a picture as mentioned above. Broadly, communication means what? The transfer and understanding of meanings by parties. That is what happening there also, no? In the picture. They are trying to understand, no? Understand something. Right. But for that purpose, what's the resource we need to communicate? What is communicated? Information. Information is required to communicate. Meaningful. Right. For facts. Facts can be converted as information. Meaningful. Right. Or data. Right. But not only data, people communicate the behavioral things as well. Their feelings, ideas, emotions, all are communicated or shared. Not only the quantitative data. Right. Right. Then formal, informal communication both also can be seen there. The electronic communication is there. Vertical communication is there. Lateral or group communication is there. There can be barriers also, no? Barriers also can be seen there. Noise is inevitable as a physical barrier in any communication and situation. There are some other barriers, no? Cultural barriers, language, filtering, selective perception, light, misrepresentation of information. Can happen, no? Right. Right. We will identify them in a list later. Right. Then I'll give another better definition about this. We can write down that separately. For leadership roles, I give one. We use the term process, then this we are going to process of communication. Right. Communication is a process, no? Communication is a process. Online members also take down this. Communication is a process through which, or in which, through which, by which, parties share, through which parties share information, through which parties share essential or exchange, no? Another similar word is exchange or transmit, share information. Within bracket, you can write down different forms of information, no? In the bracket. Facts or data, right? Facts or data, then comma ideas, feelings, emotions, etc. Close the bracket. Meaningfully. That also should come at the end. Meaningfully, no? Right. Communication is a process in which or through which parties share information meaningfully. Information has those forms, facts or data, ideas, emotions, feelings, and so on. Right. But we consider organizational communication here. Right. This is the process or diagram used to understand the communication process. Here there are two parties. No? First party is the sending party or encode. Message is sent by the sender. Then it is received by the decoder or the receiver or audience. Right. Then message is the one that is encoded and sent by the sender to the receiver. No? Right. That is called message. There's a medium, or there are different channels used to send a message, or different forms used to send a message, verbal form, non-verbal, written, electronic. Right. Then noise is here as a physical barrier, physical element in the communication process. But to complete the communication process, there should be another one. In process motivation theories also, I mentioned this one. Feedback or feedback loop. That is to ensure whether the message reach to the sender and whether it goes in or it reach as expected or meaningful to achieve the communication goals. Right. Then to ensure that feedback is essential to complete the communication process. Right. In the first and last boxes, you see similar variables. No, these are the personal variables of the sender and the receiver. Similar personal variables. No, experiences, attitudes, skills, perceptions. There can be some other variables also like education. Yeah, gender, even gender, marital status, age. Those are demographical variables also can involve here. But only these four variables have been given. These are psychological variables. Attitudes, skills, perceptions, experiences. Perception is very important here. But information gathering, processing, and interpreting. Processing is called perception in psychology. Right. Then these variables can affect the way sender encodes the message and also the way receiver understands the message. In both the stages, there are variables, similar variables, psychological variables can determine how the particular activity happens or process happens. Right. And this is a common process of communication, applicable to all different situations. In using a phone call, in a face-to-face discussion, in group communication, in meetings, in mass communication, in sending an email. In all those situations, the elements in this process involved. Yeah, that's what I look at. Outside that, at least there are two, I think you need not to have this. But we can't go for the long time without this. That's forward. Center. 27 is enough for the time being. In the hours, I use 26/7. But good for the machine, too much of it for now. It should be 25. But good for the conversion. But it is cold outside, is very cold. We can't have anything. In hot days also, maximum minimum 25. Okay. Feedback is essential to complete this. Whatever the communication technique used, finally, feedback should be used by the sender. As well as the receiver. Sometimes receiver do the feedback, not always the sender. An example, you may be a receiver, how you can do the feedback. Yes, send the message. saying that I received the mail sent by your friend. Right. Yeah, any part can do the feedback. Very sure. That is, what message was okay, then he or she got the message and to ensure it received successfully. Even it can be done with the sensors, with the body language. Looking at the other party's mood, the feedback can be understood. No? The mood of the other party is also a feedback. They also wanted to come in. Before communication. Okay, now, like any other questions about the process? Communication process. Noise is a physical barrier. Even in this classroom, no, while we are having the communication, there are noises from here as well as from outside. We can't control them, but we can control the inside place. No? We can switch off the machine. Sound is too high, too big. We can off the switch off the fan. But we need to have this to satisfy other needs. That's it. They may be a former student. Okay, then we will move to the next one. Online members are also comfortable no? About the things I am telling, communicating.
Yes, sir.
Otherwise, yeah. Right now we have come to identify different types of communication. Then I made draw a chart on the whiteboard. This is only part of that. It's also here. Right then at top we have to mention the topic name, organizational communication. It's a barrier to the communication. Typical barrier. Organizational communication, we place at top. Then it is mainly divided as formal and informal. I think they can't see, no? Yeah, and the camera. At top, organizational communication should be noted. Or see, right. Then broadly or mainly it can be divided as formal and informal. I'll use the short name of communication. Right. Then formal can be further divided into two. What are those two? Formal in an organization. What are the other two? There's two. Vertical, horizontal. vertical communication and horizontal. But now writers replace the horizontal word with lateral. Lateral, that's the best one. It's a traditional name. What's the reason? We use horizontal, the first communication taken place in a group cannot be covered. It is a communication within a group, single group. To use the term horizontal, there should be another one in the same level. No? Therefore, to settle down that problem, address that problem, we better use the term lateral. But horizontal is also a similar word. Within bracket, you can use that horizontal. Right, then vertical can be divided into these two. These are the two components of the vertical. No? Downward, upward, or top down, bottom up communication. In formal, we can identify different styles like gossips, legends. Legends means word of mouth. Then rumors. Those are different patterns of elements in informal communication in a societal level as well as the organizational level. Then all can be included in such a diagram. Formal, informal, vertical, lateral. Similar one is horizontal. Vertical is two types, downward, upward. Informal communication may have these components. Gossips, legends, rumors. You like today we can have two pieces. One from the motivation, we did on the last day, then from this one. But I have to communicate that. No, now we are having the quiz on that. And after that, I have to communicate. Now we are having the second quiz based on this. Otherwise, you will miss them now. Let an answer. Everybody should be evaluated with one lesson at a time. Otherwise, we can't maintain the comparability. Evaluate. Right. Then this starts from that, no? From there. Downward communication, that is the first component of the vertical communication. It means information should flow from the top level of the organization to the lowest level. It is called top-down communication. Then what are communicated in downwards? Organizational vision, mission, goals, instructions, policies, procedures, problems. Then need to have the feedback, all can be communicated from the top level to the lowest level. That's what we discuss under vertical coordination, no? Vertical coordination in organizing lesson, similar things. Right. Because communication is used to coordinate. Communication is the process, no? Or skill required to coordinate. Then to do the vertical coordination, what is required? Vertical communication, these two components. Right. To do horizontal load, lateral communication, the lateral load, horizontal communication is required with the teamwork. Right. Then to respond this, the lower level people should provide feedback, work in progress, goal achievement, current problems, their grievances, even complaints of customers, all should be communicated from the shop floor level to the top level. That is called upward communication or the bottom-up communication. But both should be used to complete the vertical communication and to have vertical coordination. Okay, now we have already done this. It's a matter of relating this. It's our today's lesson. Right, then I will move to the next one. Lateral communication or the horizontal communication takes place first among members in a one group, maybe production or marketing or one group. Then members of work groups, different work groups in the same level. To match with that, we can use the term horizontal. But to match with the first one, communication taken place in a group, we can use the term horizontal. That's why commonly to address all these, we better use the lateral. These are considered in the other way. In another way to classify communication for the time being, I am skipping them. We better move to the informal communication, that place. This one. Writers use another interesting name for the informal communication. What is that? That is called communication grapevine. Communication grapevine or grapevine. Right. The reason is that it disseminates very interesting information. That's the reason I have to use that name for informal communication. Grapevine, no grapevine. Our social media is very good example, no? Twitter, Facebook, Messenger. Sometimes the mostly unwanted information comes from this. It's really. But it are not communicated common. Right. Then speed is also higher in informal communication. Even personal information also can be disseminated through this. Some are good, some are bad. I am also referring to Lanka gossip every day, even at night, just for about few minutes. What happened, here and there. It's helpful. Right, then communication grapevine is another name used for informal communication. It gives managers and employees also managers to understand employee morale and to identify employees' issues and to help to address employees' anxieties and to help satisfy their needs. Right. Then in employees, the informal communication provides basis to have their informal cliques or informal groups with their friendliness, closeness, and other interests. Even among managers, no, it happens. Among managers also, no, the cliques are formed. Even among senior managers, there are cliques, personal cliques. To have parties, no, other ceremonial events. Right. Then this is common to anybody, any group or any team. Right. Those are then I have not mentioned here, but as mentioned here in the chart, gossips, legends, and rumors can be considered as being informal communication patterns. This is also applicable to the formal communication, the entire one. You can identify these architectural patterns in organizational formal communication. In vertical communication, we can see the chain method, chain architecture. Information is disseminated in the hierarchy. Right. In the lateral communication or in the group communication, we see the wheel method or wheel type, like hub and spokes in a bicycle. Right. Then the center is held by the leader, a team leader. The members can communicate scattered to them, surrounding them. Right. But practically, an organization, both communications should happen freely. Then to have that, all channel method all channel network can be seen, can be permitted to communicate information, right? Vertically as well as horizontally as required. Right. But anyhow, these are the three types of networks seen in the formal communication. Right. That's how the other things, no. That's how the key component in the formal communication can be understood. Right. Then in another way, organizational communication can be identified looking at the particular method or techniques used to communicate. Right. And in that sense, we can identify oral communication or verbal communication, then written communication, then body language or paraverbal communication, body language, then electronic communication. Today, there's a high chance, no? I tend to use electronic communication, internet and other online applications. But that's the second basis to identify different types of organizational communication, looking at the particular technique or the method used to communicate. Right. Oral or verbal communication is the first one I said, no? Where these are highly used, no? Speeches, one-to-one communication or discussions, group discussions, they know informal communication patterns. But here we have to consider the verbal presentation or oral presentation of it. Then we forget the formal classification mentioned in the first level, no? In giving examples. Here the communication or message should be presented verbally or orally in sounds. Right. I am also using that mostly I am using verbal, then written and electronic also, mostly electronic. now more all lecturers are using more electronic communication. Then it involves both oral. If a video is presented, it covers oral and mostly written. But lecturers can use the body languages also, no, to communicate the thing, to emphasize the thing. Those that covers non-verbal communication. Non-verbal is here, no? Non-verbal communication. It includes body movements, the intonations, emphasis, even with the words, facial expressions, physical movements, even physical distance between the center and the audience, all can be used to have the non-verbal communication or paraverbal communication. Right. Then second one is the written communication. Includes all textual written words and symbols used to communicate information. Examples are letters, memos, fax, emails, SMS, organizational periodicals, bulletins, notice in both the electronic and visuals. Right. Then information should be presented in words or symbols in written communication. Right. But all three are required, no? One cannot replace the other. One cannot replace the other. Each has their own purpose, own style. Therefore, better to use any number of communication methods, together. Then it enhances the effectiveness of the communication. Right, then everything was covered. Yeah. At present, today there's a high chance to use electronic communication in all levels, in the global level also, with emails, text, networking software, blogs, and video conferencing, and many more. Many more than AI. AI has come today as one very powerful and very effective method of communication. AI application. Even in developed countries, news all are telecasted through AI. Even sociology has also has one AI related to advertisement. With some four, five singers, lead singers, singers. It appeared on a billboard, no? Insurance package. Insurance. Like now, in future, there can be more chance to use AI. Or to diminish that also. Diminish that. Right. Then we have come to the next point to identify these different barriers to effective communication. These are some conditions, limiting the effectiveness of communication. First one is filtering. It means manipulation of information, intentional, purposefully. Mostly, it happens from the sender side. Then the sender does this to satisfy the receiver, to motivate and satisfy the receiver, based on his or her past experience. A small example has been given there. The manager who tells his boss what the boss feels to hear, then that involves filtering the information. Yeah, based on the manager's past experience, he or she may be communicating or trying to communicate in that manner to motivate the boss to get some benefits, within benefits. It happens not in everywhere, no? In our normal life also, no? The senders try to motivate the receivers in sending the information. And it involves this filtering barrier. Right. In communication, it's a barrier. When we talk about power politics, another is that it should be done to influence them. Should be done. Then it is not bad. Filtering is a must for the effective leadership. But in this lesson, it is identified as a barrier to the effective communication. Actual information is not disseminated here, no? Actual information. It is distorted and communicated, or say. Sometimes we do this, no? To our parents, with our friends. Parents do with the children, no? But the intention is to control the behavior, manage the behavior of the other party. We have to consider the intention, right? In evaluating the role of that. Then if a senior manager, no, does that with a good intention to enhance the performance, then it is ethical. It should be accepted in an organization. Right. Then second one is considered as selective perception. It happens from the other party side, from the sender side, sorry, receiver side. It means that the receiver tries to get the message selectively, you know, based on her personal background, but mentioned in that box in the model. Right. Then it also limits the correctness of the information, no? Understand. Because sender likes to get the message in a favorable way to him or her. Whatever the effort, no, made by the sender, finally the message is understood, right, as liked by the receiver. Therefore, it also, no, minimizes the effectiveness of the communication. It's a biased one to satisfy the receiver. The first one is a biased one to satisfy the sender. Right. Right. Third one is well known, no? Information overloading. Right. When you deal with people, actually individuals, you should be very careful not to include unnecessary volume of communication, capacity of information. Then it minimizes the motivation to grab the message and to read that and to understand by the receiver. If I give a small example, when you are supposed to do a presentation for your directors or senior managers, then you should not include more technical words in such a presentation. You have to use very common terms. Reasonable to them. You have to present the data in a user-friendly manner. Yeah, you have to use charts, bar charts, line graph, pie charts, numbers, etc. in a summary form. Otherwise, they don't like to have such presentation. But when you do a presentation for your immediate boss, then you can present with more technical words. That's our information overall problem should be understood and considered. In preparing slides also, no, there are techniques, no, slide preparation techniques. There should be a reasonable font size, color should be used, right? Then only the figure, what is called contents can be easily understood by the audience. All in all, this third problem. Right. Fourth one is emotions. If you use too much of emotions, then you will make a wrong decision based on the communication, based on the information. Right. Then, as mentioned there, it mainly refers to the mood of the part. Mood of the part. If you are in an angry mood, very negative mood, in such a situation, effective communication would not happen. Right. Because your mood intervenes. If you are in a good mood, happy mood, then the communication effectiveness would be high. There are correlations. Right. But as I mentioned before, it means don't make decision emotion, too much emotion. Then you will not take a good decision, better decision. But we need to have emotion, certain level of emotion, no? Otherwise we can't work. Like this, a certain level of emotion should be used. But too much of emotions should not be used in communication. Then you will naturally forget the task no, in hand. Because your emotions can detach you from that objective goal. Therefore, in an exam also, no, don't be too much emotional. Be calm and quiet. Otherwise, you can't write the things. Your mind will not retrieve them. In driving also, no, it should be very careful. We should not go. We should not drive or ride emotionally. Then there's a high chance to take an accident, disturb others. Right, that's how it should be understood. That. Right, then language, yeah, it's a huge value, because language means different things to different people. In the picture I showed also, there are different people, there are people who attended from different cultural backgrounds. Then they may be having typical language. Some are good in English, some are not good. Then English, Tamil, Sinhalese, those are not only the part of the language, that is only mind of art. There are many other aspects used to indicate the language. Culture, ethnic group, family background, school background, all can intervene. The country to which the person belongs. The organization to which the person belongs. The school from where he or she has come, all influence for this required need. Then daily also sometimes daily life. Right. Then next one is silence. But certain level of silence is required, no? First we have to hear to the message. After that we have to communicate. But this means too much of silence. Too much of silence is bad, not effective. No? Then it provides poor information, lack of information to the other party. If you are too much of silence, your intention or aim cannot be communicated to the other party if you are too much of silence. No? That's why I asked you to, if any questions, clarifications, please communicate. I can't read your mind. The other party cannot read your mind to understand your mind. Then you have to, counter it, counter, communicate. Then it is true for employees, no? Lower level employees should not be too much silent. Those days, it was expected, no? Obedient behavior, silence behavior, those were expected in those days. Now we are in a world where we should communicate, should not hide things unnecessarily. But we should understand this in a balanced way. We have to maintain a little silence as well. Otherwise, we don't hear to the other part. This means being silent. Silent means listening. No? It helps the listening capacity of the part of the body. So, we should not misunderstand this. In the proper way, in a balanced way, we have to understand these elements. The same goes said for emotions also. No? We need to have certain level of emotions. Otherwise, as individuals, we can't live in a society. In an organization, we can't work properly with others. But these problems are identified in an extreme way. No? If the element is used unnecessarily or in an extreme way, too much way, right? Then it happens as a problem. Right, slide is the last one. Before that, this is the depth communication apprehension. It means the communication problem faced by different individuals. No? The problem of the communication typically seen to particular individual. Right. What are the examples? By nature, no? Some are very poor in communicating, especially with a crowd, with a big crowd. Some are very good. Right. Then the other one, no? The said one who is not good in communicating, no? With a crowd can easily communicate with another part, one with a close distance. Right. Those are then communication apprehensive problems. Right. Then manager should be able to understand these things so carefully to voices. Then accordingly, he or she should communicate with that person appropriately. So through training, over time, these problems can be minimized by the individuals. But still, throughout the life, these can be seen. This may be seen. All these are behavioral things. Some may get very panic or what is called uncomfortable, no? In having using phone calls. Phone calls. These are very individual related problems. Some are not good in reading, no? Reading things. Using written communication. They are very good in oral communication. They are very poor in written communication. Even some are not having a mobile phone as a habit. Some are very unlikely to have a use a mobile phone. There are parents, no? There's a phone with them, they are not using it. Sometimes the phone is not in the usable way. They are not answering it. These are attitudinal problems, attitudinal and personal behavioral issues typical to that person. Fine. Yeah, some are not referring to WhatsApp. They are only using emails. They like to use emails. It is applicable to me also. Yeah, I mostly like to see the emails. It's more convenient. I have already established that. And unlike to check the WhatsApp, very randomly I do. Then by the time the deadline has over, I could not attend that. Right, these are individual matters you communicate, personal matters. All these can be considered there in that point, communication affiliation. Affiliation means inheritance, very specific to the particular individuals. Right. Last one is line. It is bad, no? From the beginning, intention it should be minimized. What the reason? Because of line, the wrongful information, no misinformation, error information is disseminated. Then, based on the error information, the final decision made by the party also would be error and ineffective or wrong. This is also wrong. That's the reason. Therefore, line should be minimized. But in our national level, line is promoted as a cultural thing, positive thing. But in a country like Japan, no, line is condemned, no? Condemned from the entire society. From the childhood, no? And the children are well trained not to lie. But here, from the top level, no? The parliamentary level, line is promoted. Day by. Guest representation is the norm. It has become a norm in our society. In organizations also same. In most of the organizations, people are telling that one thing, doing another. Different. Therefore, we have to minimize it in future through some behavioral mechanisms. Otherwise, we can't stay competitive, no, as a nation. But our organization cannot stay competitive. Number one is correcting the communication challenge. Because based on that, all decisions are made through information, communication. Even teachers are responsible. Teachers, lecturers are responsible not to lie. They should be the role models. And first, actually, should start from the family. Mother and father should not lie. That's first one. The socialization in nursery school, nursery, are some other institutions. But number one is the family. Right. To enter the children to the schools, also parents are lying with giving producing different evidence about the native place and about the things yeah, definitely wrongful information to the school principal. They are also promoting respectively. That was highlighted in a message in the local channel. What is called Ratukatta. In Ratukatta, it was mentioned as a social problem. Ratukatta. which communicates all different social problems prevailing in the country. Yes, sir, I heard. Right. Then this is the last part, last point of the lesson. All what we now discussed can be presented in remarks, no? As concluding remarks. But all these should be taken as learning points by managers, no? In enhancing organizational communication. Not only managers, employees also have the responsibility, certain level of responsibility to be with it. Everything should not be pushed into the manager's hand. So yes. Right. Then first point says the less distortion, that means less filtering. The more employees will receive goals, feedback, and other management messages as intended. That is true, no? Therefore, as for this lesson, senders should be able to minimize filtering as much as possible. Then other positive results can be achieved. Right. Then the second point says, high use of vertical, lateral, informal channels can enhance communication flow, reduces uncertainty, and improve group performance and satisfaction. That is true, no? That's what I also mentioned before. Better to use any number of communication channels together, right, to achieve those positive results. Not only one at a time. But third one is very important. Perfect communication is never attainable at any time. But there's a positive relationship between effectiveness of communication and the positive results. There's a strong correlation, but 100% a perfect communication is never attainable. Any person, no, there is a small error or weak point. It's possible, always. No? In notebook also, I think, but perfect communicator, right? There are mistakes, no? Happen from most of that. But he corrected. But we have to agree with this, no? Always there is a positive relationship between the effective communication and other positive organizational results. Positive individual, group, and organizational results. It is true at the national level, at the global level also. Number one is effective communication. That means walking the talk, but always we don't see, no, even at the global level, we don't see walking the talk. Talk is happening. No? People are talking one thing, doing a different thing. Especially by big countries, no? Powerful countries like USA, Russia, UK. But as for this lesson, that is bad. But when we come to study power politics, it is accepted. It's accepted. Those should be done. Otherwise, they cannot not maintain the power in the long run. Right. Then these are the main communication strategies to enhance the communication effectiveness. Choosing or selecting the correct channel, not channels. Then be an effective listener, good listener, and have the feedback in your communication process. These are the three major strategies of communication. Through these, lot of problems, no, or barriers can be minimized. Over. What are the three strategies? Be a good listener. Listener, use select and use channels properly, or in a balanced way, then have the feedback. Have the feedback. This is applicable to any profession, no? Any job, any management. Right. I highlighted this also. Whatever the sender's expectation, the message as decoded by the receiver is the reality of the communication. Finally, the result or the reality of the communication means that the way the message is or message was interpreted and understood by the receiver. That's the final destination. No? Destination. So that's the reality of the communication. Final output is that how the receiver decodes and understands the message sent by the sender through any number of channels. Right. This is another implication. Learning point. What is that? There are massive advantages, different advantages provided by the electronic communication, limited to the misunderstanding and misusing of them. Even today, no, sometimes people know the technique, but they are using in that wrongful manner. Both problems can happen. No? One is misunderstanding and misusing. Misunderstanding and misusing of electronic communication are the two main drawbacks behind it. But they provide a lot of hidden benefits, massive benefits compared to the traditional communication tools, traditional communication methods. Right. Then this point says, make sure as a communicator you use communication strategies appropriately to match with your audience. That is also important, no? We have to communicate the things first, knowing the audience, understanding the audience, to match with the audience. The way we should talk with our parents should be different. No? The way we talk with our friends, or with teachers, or with colleagues in the workplace. Time to time, situation to situation, party to party, we have to change our behavior and the pattern of communication. And pattern of the language. Finally, keep in mind communication barriers. There are different barriers, no? We identified as barriers to communication, but for each and every barrier, there is a solution, no? But we can eradicate them, but we can minimize the negative effect of them. We can minimize, overcome. That's why extreme perfect communication cannot be achieved in any time. But we can enhance the effectiveness of it. So one is perfect in communication. Some sides are good, but we can identify some loopholes also in any person. Therefore, you should not try to evaluate the person with 100% of perfect communication. It is impossible. But we should go with this word, no? Whether we experience effective communication, effective or appropriate communication in a time. That should be only considered. But to evaluate the perfect communication. In advertisement, so TV advertisement, conventional advertisement, no, we should not try to see its perfectness, but we should consider whether the particular message has been communicated effective or appropriate. No? That's how we should evaluate these communication processes. Right. That's it. Then we will have a break now for about 15 minutes. Then coming back, we will have one or two quizzes. We are having only one quiz. We can have study case also. Right. Since we can go with the normal plan, I think having the one quiz today is enough. We can go till mid of November. Right. Okay, then we will have a break and come back accordingly. Yeah. After the break, right? You can tell it to the others, no? You are going to tell now. What's the reason? Yeah. Another problem. Recoverable, no? Right, then what's your name? Asik. So we will go with this one. Base one. Asik. Here, 33. Number 33. Right. That's very No, conceptual it means altering, altering or manipulating information purposefully by the same. based on feed capacity for processing data. Information we have to work it exceeds our processing capacity. The result is information loss. But this can be overcome, no? We identified three main strategies. Okay. Why you didn't contact Colombo hospital? That is good. Public work. What is the nature of water in your area? Drinking water. Yeah. Why no? It is a normal public water. Yeah. Yeah, to consider them, main is drinking water. How much quality of body? I want to keep the information in the minimum sector, she 60 that's what I just kind of takes places like About seven teams. The online. With online, there can be 7, no? 7, 6. Yeah, 10 minutes, huh? We will have 10 minutes for one presentation. Yeah. More application part can be presented, no? A little about the concepts, definitions. But you can balance both. It's a concept book, no? Can have 50-50 balance. 50 to cover, talk about the concept, and another 50 to talk about the applications. By managers. In 5 minutes about the concepts, but concept to concept you have to proceed, no? Member should select 1 or 2 concept a member.
Two concepts they have. Each person have to.
About 2. But first there can be an introduction about the assignment. What the main purpose of that and how it was done. And a little about management background also. Then final conclusion. That's how the report was on it. 15 repair. You have to prepare the concept report to cover these cover page, abstract, acknowledgement, contents, then a little introduction, then straight away about the concept. 10 concepts one by one to show the definitions, underlying principles, and the applications. Right. Finally, you will have a small common conclusion. To present a summary of para about the learning works. Your view of the task. When around 22 pages, the body part can be completed. Body means introduction to the conclusion. But when you, refer the exact, show the exact narration taken from a book, you have to, present the author's name, surname. Here, sometimes page numbers. It is a direct quotation. Follow the APS title. All citations should be in references finally. After the conclusion, there should be another page, no, as references. No annexes, I think. In this assignment, no need to have annexes, appendix. Yeah, we will go with the A4 size pages, no? Normally, it will be around 5,000 words, no? 5,000. 5 to 6,000. Now, what we presented today? What's the subject? Economics. It's a team report and a presentation of that by the same members. How long was given?
The presentation. Each person.
3 days. Then 15. For our one, no need of having no such a time. No. Even within 10 minutes, it is possible. For the team. That's how I communicated in the course outline. Now in our universities, sometimes for the PhD final presentation, only 15 minutes are given. The entire present the entire report. The main things in the entire report. Such a report is around 3,300 pages. Then to do the presentation of that essence, mostly earlier half an hour was given. Now only 15 minutes. 15 minutes are given. Within 15 minutes, the homework should be communicated with the original file. Then for you, 10 hours, 10 minutes. 10 minutes are enough, no? The small work, no? Even there are 10 concepts, the things you should communicate on each and every concepts would be similar, no? A definition, principle, and application. Or else you can have a table or diagram, no? To show the things, but members can share the same, use the same in different columns and rows. That's how a presentation should be thought of. Oral presentation. Different techniques can be used based on your thinking and creativity. But in a report, similar word patterns, paras should be prepared in a report. Everybody should follow the same format. Then you can save more time, save some minutes. Think of them. Then in columns, you can identify different keys, not definition, underlying principles, application. Then 10 concepts can be presented line by line, row wise. Then include the summary on from the report. Before that, first introduction should be presented using one slide with the subject, background, purpose of the assignment, and as a team, how you complete it. Right. That should come to a one slide. Then things in the concepts can be presented in such a way, maybe in a table, in column and row forms. Right? That's the main part. Then final conclusion also can be summarized in one slide. Then within 5-6 slides, everything can be possible. Then 5-6 members can share the task. Only one can do the introduction. Another can do the conclusion. There are 3 or 4 members, so they can share to present the things in the table. Share in concepts, row-wise. You have to scroll down and up the slides, no, accordingly. Match with the talk, what you match with the presenter talks. But full grammar should not be maintained, no, in a presentation. Only keywords can be presented, but you can say them, no, orally. Informal, you have to type the things, no, in the slides, very informally. But in the report, you have to follow the formal communication in your report. Okay, then shall we start our quiz? We took quiz almost 3 o'clock. We will use communication for this one, today's one. Motivation was given as a topic concept, no? Employee motivation has been also given as a concept, right? But in preparing slides and report, consider there are big topics with more principles, no? Then how to accommodate them in the balance way. You have to think. Therefore, need not to present everything, no? As an example, if you, as a big topic, motivation, to represent that in the concept book, you can define that and identify major points. 2 types of motivation, motivational theories in 2 types. And you can use only 1 or 2 to represent one group, not everything in an order. Try to communicate the particular message given by the particular group of things to understand the concept. As a in a review way, you should write as a review, not to reproduce the things. You should be the reviewer or commentator. Likewise, famous Abba Singh is very good in commentating in a live way. Such a task should be done. But you can't change the meaning of the findings of other authors, no? Without distorting them, you have to do that. This work should not be distorted. Then poor communication, ineffective communication happens. Right, then one has done already. He wanted to leave early to see his brother, you know, in the hospital. Then I finished that assumes. Then we will follow the normal list up. First one is number 1, Veera Singh. Right. What's your learning point? Vertical and horizontal. Vertical communication divided into downward communication and upward communication. The downward communication is follows from one level of a group or organization to lower level. Example is design goals, provide job instruction, etc. And upward communication follows to higher level in the group or organization. Example, provide feedback, inform, progress toward, etc. To managers and team leaders. Right. And these are the main elements in formal communication, no, in an organization. Right. To do the administration, this is highly essential, no? To maintain the proper smooth administration of an organization, no, the formal communication should be used, no, inevitably. Right. To go extra miles, other types of communication can be used by managers, no? To go extra miles. Right. Chanika, number 2.
Sign board, provide job in instruction. Then publication.
Right. Without these, people cannot identify the particular directions, no, to work in an organization. And that is fulfilled by the downward communication or top-down communication. Otherwise, the managers cannot instruct other followers or subordinates. Chain of command. Chain of command principle is happening there. No? Right. Then Ramukkan, number 3.
My point is about barriers to effective communication. So I'm going to explain 3 barriers. First one is filtering, which refers to senders purposely manipulating information so the receiver will see it more favorable. And the second one is selective perception. The receiver selectively see and hear based on their needs characteristics. And the third one is information overload. Individuals have a finite capacity for processing data.
Right. Well, number 4. Continuously absent. No? Mineka, number 5.
There is 3 major strategies of communication. Number 1 is there should be an effective listeners. Second one is choosing the correct channel. Third one is have the feedback.
Right. These are 3 generic communication strategies, no? common strategies. IR Jaising, number 6.
Like data, and PG doing and there will be a various problems.
MR Jaising, number 7.
My landing point is concept from communication. Communication is the process through which parties share information meaningfully. Organization communication are 2 types: formal communication and informal communication. Informal communication means gives managers a feel for the morale of their organization, identify issues of employees considered important, and helps step to employee and CCTs and also serves employee needs. Small talk creates a sense of closeness and friendship among those who share information.
Veerapol, 9.
Frequently using communication. It saves our time and cost. It includes email, text messaging, cross media.
The disadvantages of drawbacks of modern electronic communication.
And receiver may not receive the message correctly because of the technical errors.
Misunderstanding and misusing are the 2 disadvantages. Right, next Madhushani, 10. The definition. What kind of information can be shared? Data. Only that. The other behavioral things we communicate. Behavioral elements. I ask you to write down them, all of them in a bracket. Ideas, emotions, feelings, then facts or data can be communicated as information. Summary code, YC number 11.
The communication process has 5 steps: idea formation, encoding, transaction, decoding, and the give feedback. The communication and its process is a function. Communication is fundamental to the existence, survival of human as well as to an organization. So it's the process of creating, sharing ideas, information, facts, feeling from one place, one person or the group to other. Communication is the key to the directing function of the management.
It's the number one skill set, no? Required to be a effective leader. Right. Someone call number 12.
Is phone, email, social media, video content, video calls, text message, electronic news, and media. Using that media, people can share information, conduct business, and collaborate across geographical distances. Boundaries.
But from the traditions, history now, nowadays we have been using that. Added with new techniques. Next one, Kavodya. KTD Jayasingh, 14.
Communication. Written communication means the sending of messages, orders, or instruction in writing via words and symbols. We can do this through letters, circulars, manuals, reports, office memos, notices, emails, fax, etc. It is a formal method of communication and less flexible. A written document preserved properly becomes a permanent record for future reference.
But an email also can be written communication or SMS or message. How about you are sending cartoons, ne? Notes also, they also carry symbols. Sudarsha. Sudarsha, ne? Yeah. Sorry. Number 15.
idea in different ways. One is emotion. Same way, say, every person, the message was passed in the and when you put in part of the idea, it would be the same person. If a person silence the information would be passed to the malicious purpose.
Right. We talk about what non-verbal. Silence. It leads to misrepresentation. Lack of, not miss, poor communication, lack of information. What was mainly used by Mr. Beam. Beam. Those days, we loved him. What kind of communication? We don't worry about Mr. Beam. Yeah, those days, the entire world happy to see him. What's the communication type he used? Non-verbal. What is non-verbal? Clearly stated as in written way. Right. Okay. Even now you can watch is some videos, some actings. It's a good example to understand the role of non-verbal communication. Mr. B. Right. Next one, Abhigunu number 16. Abhigunu
Today, my learning point is oral communication. Oral communication is communication through mouth. It should be presented in form like speeches, formal one-on-one, and group discussion. Informal grapevine are popular forms of oral communication. Also, presentation and discussion can include further discussion.
What you told?
Presentation,
Presentation,
discussion, discussion,
presentation,
discussion.
discussion. Yeah. Those are examples for what communicate, what type of oral. Then you have to explain the concept at the beginning. Oral communication or verbal oral communication involves the presentation of the material verbally, orally. Right. First, you have to explain the concept. That's how concept book should be. Completed. After that, only to elaborate that, you can. After that, only you have to give examples. Straight away, don't explain the example. It is not the best way of communicating in academic communication. No? In your normal life, you can straight away tell people the example or technique. But for them also, I think better to explain in this way. No? First, telling about the concept. Then after that, you can give examples. Otherwise, if you, even for average people, if you try to explain the thing with the example first, then later they will ask, no? Something related to the concept about the material. Therefore, in both our day-to-day life as well as in our organization or academic life, to communicate, first we better start from explaining about the concept, little bit explaining about the concept or the material. Otherwise, even your what is called parents or neighbors, relatives will ask, what's the purpose of that or something. What's the use of it? If not use, what's the purpose of it? If you are starting from explaining the example, not effective, no? Communication is not comprehensive, effective. Right. Clear again, 1-7.
Major strategies of communications comes under managerial implications. To make the communication effective, there are three major elements that we need to consider. Basically, receiver has to be a good listener, and sender has to choose more than one channels to deliver the message. And also, the feedback also most important. And when it comes to the perfectness, we can't expect that because it's unattainable. You should get the message, but they deliver only. And also this concept applicable for any position.
Wonder. Right. But when we look at global management, international management, or cross-cultural management, at that level, we can identify language or culture in different countries, nations as high context language or high context culture and low context language or low context culture. Two groups. Then how to explain it? Examples. Low context, high context. In high context cultures, members in that particular society or the organization give more weight to informal communication. Informal. Examples for those countries: China, Japan. They give more priority to the particular contextual things, artificial things, patterns of behavior. No? They give more priority, acceptance for that. For the formal communication later. In the West, like USA, UK, they give more priority for the formal communication. Formal. Less to the informal. But we have to consider both. But the given weightage can be differently seen across the countries. Sri Lanka, same. I can say they're more informal. People are more informal, flexible, less formal. In organizations also same. This is also an example for the high context. And that's why at the global level, this language we use to manage businesses across borders globally. Multinational firms and managers in multinational firms should know these things. Even recently, Chinese and Japanese even why Sri Lankan people mostly use this mode. In those countries, those are not apparent. I said to show the positivity. Is it correct? That's how I answer. If the thing is comfortable to the person or positive, then he shake the head in this way. Shakes. That's how no. He shows. And for them, it is the opposite. For Chinese and Japanese, or for Koreans. All these are the way the language can be used. language is not only the so-called particular language, own language like Sinhalese, Tamil, Japanese, covers a huge area, body languages also. Right. The Japanese people use a lot of body languages, no, to communicate. So first they respect to each other. Whoever comes there sees seen there, they bow. Whether they are in a house, or in a hotel, or in a on the way, in a train, in a bus, even they while they are riding bicycle, they do it. But they don't look at the faces, other face directly, those people. But Sri Lankans are directly seen, no? That is a habit, that's a custom. අනුගෙදවා කෙලින්ම බලන්න. එරටවල ඒකයි. Right, then while accommodating under high contest or low contest, we see these are the typical differences also between nations. These are practically important. So when you visit a country, when you live there, when you try to adapt there, when you try to negotiate and communicate on your business matters or personal matters with them, those should be known. At least you have to do a research, no, through internet before you visit there. You can little study about the internet through the internet server, through Google search. That's the best one. But you have to visit the place, no, to really to know the reality. Right. Next one, Gautam.
Definition of communication. Communication is the process through which a parties exchange information, facts, data, ideas, feelings, emotion, meaning. Information and facts can be converted as a data.
Most take in that no definition. Atidya, 20.
Past, upward, and downward, and equal to the same method by using method upwardly higher level to lower level words even information and downward upwardly provide feedback and respond like.
It helps vertical coordination, no, for managers. It follows chain of command and scale of principle, no? What we discussed in the introduction lesson and organizing lesson. 21 is absent, no? Only number, no name. This one 22, Vitanagi is an active member. Today absent? No. Seems not available. Vitanagi. He has come continuously. Then he didn't have the presentation today. The other presentation not applicable to him. Right, 23 is a blank. Next one 24, Mohammed, online, no?
Yes, sir.
So your learning point about communication.
Today's my learning point is the barriers of effective communication. I'll explain three scenarios. First one is filtering. Filtering is sending manipulation information purposely. This mainly done by sender. Second one is selective. Receiver refer only information they need. This will be happen from receiver and receiver sent. And language, different purpose, different people use different languages to communicate each others, and there will be understanding issue with the for each others.
As I explained been in an Arabian country,
Yeah.
how can you see their language in these two groups, two types, high contest and low contest? In Arabian countries, what is mostly prominent?
They are mostly prominent high contents.
High contest, no?
Yes.
Even the what is called the wear,
Yeah.
not uniforms, but the wear matters a lot, no?
Yes.
From that initial communication happens. Right. Then the manner, the respect, all are expected, no?
Yes. Yes, sir.
Then it is more high contest. Arabian countries are mostly high contest. Right. Next one, Ahmed participated only on one day. Others are blacks. Today also not available, no? Ahmed. Next, two are also blanks. Number 26, 27, no names. So these two also. This one 28, Khalid. He was here, no, in the physical class, not available today. The dean guy, no? Khalid. Next two are also blanks. 29, 30, no names. 31, Randika.
My learning point is written communication. It is the exchange of communication ideas or messages through written language in the form of letters, such as memos, letters, fax, and emails.
Right. Online, Parwan, number 32.
Yes, sir. My learning point is importance of informal communication. So the importance of the informal communication is it will be help to identify staff any problem and also help to build the relationship between employees and with employees to employees and employees to managers, and also it will be sort of a stress release method of informing the things, and also able to identify the informal leaders in the organization.
Right. Then how you ratify the answer given by the other member to say that in your countries mainly high contest language or culture is visible. What's your opinion?
Yes, sir. Same as I am in line with him.
Yeah. Okay. Next one. Sorry. Who answered now?
Farhan.
Okay. Hasim, he has already answered. Right. Next one, Lagma, 34.
My learning point is vertical communication under the formal communication. There are two methods. First one, downward communication. It uses top level to lower level management use, providing guidance and job instruction, policy to lower level staff, and getting feedback on employee performance. And next one is upward communication. Is communicate level to upper level. Those are provide feedback, inform project towards the goal and correction for the overall achievement.
Right. Vertical communication. 35 blanks. Jayasant, 37. You are here, no? What is that? Somewhere else.
Filtering like before you send this document rating it for the easier way to see more regularly. For example, a manager who tells was one he is the worst
going to create filtering information. At least one barrier. Even you can talk about one barrier clearly. In all of the exams, individual have community capacity for processing the data. The information we have to work with it. Then you have to, first identify the audience, no? Type of the audience, nature of the audience, then organize the information, no? Try to use the information, then that's the solution, no? Easiest solution to overcome information overload problem. 38, Gunaratna. 4 blanks. No. But continue in 9. Kalashini, 39.
Might find a relevant organization. The B relies on central figures to act as the conduit for all the group's communication will find on a team with strong data. The all char network permits all group members to actively communicate with each other, characterized in self-managed teams.
Right. Next one, Veligamagi. Veligamagi. Maybe from the physical class or online. Not today, no? Right, Soisa.
Communication before that, communication between people at the same level. Same work group. It is at the same level. There are three people I can collaborate on project and tasks. They are like an idea and coordinate their work, resolve problem. As an example, 2 Indian on the same project, they discussing their ideas.
But I ask you to prefer the term lateral, no? For this, not horizontal. Because that's what you explain, no? Because the single group communication cannot be touched, no? Touched upon by when we use horizontal. At least 2 levels, 2 groups in the same level should be there. To consider the term horizontal. The equal level, at least 2 levels should be there. Then we will most writers, no? As from must to use lateral word. Both are identical. Edri Singh. She is the one. I made a joke on her. I made a joke also. Right. Today I was saying that she look like a Tamil. Because of that, she may not be coming. I don't know, but after that, the following week also she was here. Okay, anyhow. Online, Gayan, 40.
Yes, sir. My learning point is downward communication. And the downward communication is that is a communication flow from top management to lower level staff. And there we are normally communicating this assigned goal management assigned goals and this providing some introduction regarding the jobs and information about these policies and procedures and some kind of instruction for the do the specific job and things.
Right, in the organization you work there, from there, what kind of communication patterns are highly used?
Normally using, sir, that their communication this through emails and circulars.
Using, you are working virtually.
No, sir. But the every time if there's anything, they are sending by emails and through the circulars also only.
Then formal, eh?
Yes, sir. Very formal.
Using more formal communication, right? But anyhow, in that classification, I think the whole country belongs to the high contest, no?
Yes, sir.
Contest. The organizations, they mainly use formal communication. Yeah, that is there. Even in Japanese organizations, same, no? At the organizational level, we should be very formal. We should be very punctual. Yeah. But in the larger society, we see high contest. But that is used in organizations also. At the very beginning, the courtesy statements are presented. Those are there, no differences. But to get the task done, no, they are more formal, very formal. In Arabic countries, also say at the organizational level, corporate level, people should be very formal, no? Otherwise, they can't achieve these high, massive productivity. Time is the goal for them. Time is the value for them. Then we also should improve those areas. Better to have the high contest nature in the society, right? Otherwise, people will experience a lot of pressure. I mean, work burden, pressure, unhappy, no, anxiety. But when we come to the organizational level, we should follow the formal things. Otherwise, we can't improve the efficiency, productivity. That's the second part in our industries and especially in public sector. Right. Next one, Udayanga, via online, number 8.
Yes, sir.
Yeah, what's your answer?
Today my learning point is barriers to effective communication. First one is sender purposely use information and receiver need to ask it more favorably. Receiver need information as filtering, and individual has limit capacity for process data, and if information exceed the processing capacity, it will overloaded information. And receiver selectively look and hear information based on receiver's need. And emotion is another barrier. Some messages may interpreted differently with mood of swing. And another barrier is too much silence of employer. And communication apprehensions and lying is another barriers to effective communications.
In your organization, what are the strategies introduced by managers to address these problems, communication problems? Are there any strategies used, instructions given?
Most in times, we using that email for communication this sectors formally.
That is one strategy used to, to enhance the formulation.
Email and most in time WhatsApp messages.
Different channels are used for the same message.
Yes, sir.
It enhances feedback and delivery.
Yeah, delivery. Yeah.
Okay. These are the small strategies, no? Even all of us, based on whatever the education level, all are adhered to these, no?
Yeah, yes, sir, yeah.
In Sri Lanka also same now, the ICT literacy has gone up, no? The people having doing supportive jobs, laborer jobs, they are very good in using mobile phones. They have to, capitalize. The government should capitalize to include them in the economic process. That inclusion part is lacking at the policy level, no? We have to improve that. Right, next one, Koperagi, online, number 26. Right, then absent, no? Koperagi. Rismi, number 36, you answered? Did you answer or not? They only answered, no? In last. They only answered, I think, not Rismi. Koperagi is absent. Rismi, did you answer via online? Not attending today, no? Rismi is not attending today. I have given mark, right? Mistaken. To him, I think then it's a blank for today for Rismi. And Kavindi, Kavindi, right? Kavindi.
Such as oral, written, verbal, and effective communication based on experience, attitudes, skills, and perception of both sender and receiver. We should change our pattern of language and behavior for different receivers. For effective communication, feedback is essential.
I think after my sheet, all engaged, all seems engaging. Anybody who left answering? From online mode, anybody not attended? All attended, no? From here also say. Then shall we have the total count? $29 is the total figure. It's correct, I think, no? 25 from here and 4 from 3 from online. Right, then we have little more time to finish. Problem is that search the page. There's a nice small case left about communication in the US setting. At least we can do that. We have to use the ebook. If somebody is having this, can you quickly tell me the page number referring to the table of contents? Now you have to go for the communication. Then at least tell me the range of pages of that lesson of the ebook. It's very difficult to scroll up and down using this. Then I have to improve this capacity. Communication, where it is? What's the page number?
$254, sir.
254. Yes. Yeah, I mean, you may be having a laptop, no? Right. Or mobile phone. And finding the topic, there is a problem. 254. 254. Somewhere down. No? Did you find the exact case page? It's a different one, no? This is the days somewhere here. Structure.
Case page is 261, sir.
Exact page 261 somewhere below. Chicago police case, no? Chicago police. Let's do this. Right. Case study. It is a case study. Police miscue toll. Police miscue toll happened in a bus incident. First, we have to read the questions also, no? Given at the end. Our target is to answer it. But there are 3 questions, no, given. First question says, what steps might the state and local police, in this case, take to improve communication with each other? Right. The knowledge about the concepts can be used here next to provide the answer. As I feel, point by point, no, you can suggest what kind of communication patterns or types should have been in the place to prevent these problems happening. Right, but I also should read and get update with the information. Second one, what type of formal communication patterns are? Straight away you can now, we have studied different patterns of formal communication, no? You can straightly provide it as the answer here. It is only about formal communication. No? For the first question, including formal communication types, anything can be in the answer, no? Because in case answers questions overlapping is happening. Right. Don't worry about that overlapping. Third one, how might non-verbal communication play a role, positive or negative role, in a situation like this where rapid, accurate communication is essential? In both sides you have to explain. But to happen effectively, this one here, it should have been priorly practiced, priorly communicated. Saying that these hints should be given. The meanings of the hints should have been studied. Then only it is happening. No, non-verbal would happen in a situation like this, productive. Otherwise, lot of errors can happen. Miscommunication can happen if prior understanding has not been done using non-verbal communication. Right. Then I have given the answers now. You also can read the parasite, no? Later, come back to write the answers. I think that still we have 5 to 10 minutes to work, then I can do the rest. We will read the paras. While reading, try to recall the particular concepts you study in a subject in relevant topics of the subject. You have to use the blended approach, combined approach. Right. But as I mentioned, better to read and understand the questions, no? Even at the end. Finally, you have to provide the answers for those questions from the case study. Chartered final also, case study is a must know. Chartered final, it covers all subjects there. Marketing, HRM, strategy. First slide is this. The approach to study those cases also similar in this way. First, you have to read the theme and understand that. Then read the questions and understand them. Then read paras. While reading, you can underline and jot down important things, no, on a rough paper. After, you can provide the answer, no, strategically, one by one. There also, I think, overlapping can happen, right? Overlap. But you have to, provide the answer contents correctly to match with the question part. Right. Sometimes communication miscue not only embarrasses and inconveniences people, it may also endanger lives, no? Lives. I think recently, the Colombo, the one tree, fallen on a bus net. I think the ultimate reason is poor communication, right? Poor information. To identify that problem in advance, no? It should have been prevented. Now people are told to be alert, no, in those areas after happening the incidents. But those incidences have been prevented, no? The proper reason is the poor communication. Even a neighbor or a civilian has the responsibility, not to communicate the things. If it is dangerous, if the tree is about to fall down, no, fall down, then it should have been communicated, no, to the respective authority, no, by a civilian, no. Then such a massive disaster incidents could have been prevented. In all mistakes, the number one reason is going to be the communication. Communication miscue or poor communication. 5 died, no, from that accident. On the spot, 5 died. There may be more victims, no, in the dangerous situation in the hospitals. And it's a CTB bus, no? It's a public property, no? Then a lot of traffic jams, no, might happen, no? Then cost cannot be calculated, the ultimate cost. Right. Endanger lives even, finally, no? That was the case one evening when police pulled over a bus outside Chicago and stormed it. This is a very old case, looking for a murder suspect who wasn't on the bus, but supposed to be on the bus, no? The incident started with a tip-off from the murder's victim's family to miscue the communication. Murder's family has given their own information to the police. Therefore, the developed countries people are very intelligent. The incidents, victim's family, that the suspect might be traveling by the bus from Chicago to Milwaukee, to prefectures or cities. Chicago police issued a warning to the to other local police as well as the state police that the suspect might be on the bus, but to let him pass. Right, that's the communication given, message given. Then they notified the Milwaukee police who were ready to pick up the suspect as soon as he arrived. Misunderstand, miscommunication. That's what I said, no? The reality of the communication means how the message is read and understood, no? Interpreted by the receiver. Whatever the senders wrote. But Genco and state police interpreted the message to mean that they should stop the bus and make an arrest at the spot. It was not intended. Right. It harms, it may harm the others, other travelers also. Having a big traffic jam. This is also similar to that, no? But incidents, two types of incident, but similar. Routes are very similar. What happened in Colombo prison? Objects are different, but reasons consequences are similar. There wasn't anything ambiguous about it, declares Paul Harlow, Director of Public Safety in Glencoe. The message was that you have a suspect who is wanted to homicide, and that's probably, in my understanding, the highest priority message you can put up. That should have been considered. So passengers were filed off the bus, herded to the side of the road, pissed and held there for several hours. It was not intended. Traffic on the highway was jammed up for miles. Meanwhile, the suspect had actually boarded another bus to Milwaukee, where he was arrested later. It's a different matter. No? Law enforcement experts claim that had he been on the stop bus, the situation would have become dangerous very quickly. Right. What was his communication miscue? That is the main part. No, we should consider. First, there was no formal pattern of communication leading to a clear chain of command. Second, there were errors in perception. That's what I said. Perception is very crucial in the party's mind now. The message that Chicago police intended as merely informational was received and interpreted by other police department as a request for take action. It was not intended, no. They were asked to be alert, no, alert about the suspect. Third one. There was no feedback, but we mentioned in the noted in the model of communication, no, in a particular slide, about the message from receiver to sender. The feedback can happen in both the ways. I also explained that, no, even a sender can do the feedback. Instead, the bus was stormed. Thus, the California Highway Patrol has a policy that, not policy, policy procedure that would have prevented such a miscue. And the officer may not take action such as pulling over a bus unless he or she has received approval from the headquarters. It is a formal communication, hierarchical communication, or top-down communication. Should have been followed, no, strictly. We want to make sure that someone that has a slightly different perspective that may not be caught up in the situation can provide guidance. Explains Steve Kohler of the organization. Maybe a top. It's a safe bet that police departments around Chicago, even Srilanka, are now working in improving communications. Yeah, all problems, no? Maybe because of the improper communication. The root cause may be that. In all the problems, almost all the problems. Right now, I think you can easily answer the question. Questions. What steps might state and local police take to improve communication with each other in future? Then you can propose, no, at least 5 points, taking considering the concepts we discussed in the lesson. Right. What is one? Having formal communication, no, in this manner. You can elaborate that. What kind of formal communication patterns should be included? That part of answer should be given to the second questions also. Right, obviously. Right, then you can give some other suggestions, no? Even in the case also, I think three problem areas have been found, no? Based on that, you can suggest 3 possible steps to be taken. Right, based on the 3 problems identified in a para of this case. One was about to propose have formal communication, no? Then we studied about informal communication also, no? It is also matching, no? For a situation like this. To find a robber. To catch a robber, then better to use informal communication also parallel with the formal communication. That is another point. Can elaborate that answer a little bit. Right then you can propose have non-verbal communication also. But with the practice, with the prior determination. There are some security jargons should have been introduced. They should be known by every police officers, no? Who are using those jargons, codes of security, which are not understandable to others, other general public. That's how people organize it each other. They may be having using different security codes. Maybe with numbers, with alphabets, or with whole alphabets and numbers, or with some nicknames, no? Nicknames. But our task is to provide these things, conceptual. So now we have introduced three points. Another one, already given, no? There. Have feedback, proper feedback to ensure the message reach as expected or intended. Okay, another one. Use different channels, no? Different communication channels to media, not only one at a time. Now five. We have given five steps or points or proposals. Police and stakeholders to follow in the future. Right, then second one should be easily presented about the types of or patterns of formal communication. Yeah, you can talk about downward communication, upward communication, lateral communication. Those are the things we discuss under the formal communication. Formal, not informal. Don't write anything about informal communication. It is not applicable. It is applicable to the first question. First question. Or you can tell about, we discussed, we noted three patterns, chain, wheel, all channels. The three network types should work together. And last one, how might non-verbal communication, I explained already, as mentioned, to work them positively without leaking them to the unknown people, general public. These codes, security codes or communication codes should be prior to practice, understood by the authorities. No? Then only that would work better in a situation like this. Otherwise, even suspect can reach to these information, and to avoid them, he or she can use other actions. That is in danger using non-verbal communication in security activities. In organization also, no, it's the same, no. It will affect the confidentiality of the business. Therefore, decision makers only should know this. These non-verbal patterns of codes information. That's what I explained. I was explaining about our movement of faces and by Sri Lanka. It's only familiar for us, not for others, foreigners. They should know that for coming here. Otherwise, while living, they should know this. That's how non-verbal communication is very typical to that context, or that culture group. Okay, then I already explained that it is your task to write that. Write the answers. That's it. Need not to provide loan answers. Okay, in this way we will finish today's session. We have the quiz also. Like that, we will move up to end of November at the results. Then your report, PDF copy of the final concept book team report should be uploaded on the week after next, no? In the week after the next. Now, today is the 10th one, no? 10th week. This one is the 11th one. Right. In the 12th week only, I think your final PDF copy should be uploaded to the LMS. On that Saturday, yeah, by 11:59 of midnight. Right, after that, we will talk about the slide preparation. Even today, I have dedicated prepare the slide. It is for 10 minutes, for a 10-minute presentation. But before that, we have to prepare the report. Prepare the word report and convert it to the PDF and upload. Okay, then thanks, and we will stop here.